Far beyond the frozen northern seas, hidden among jagged cliffs, lay the forgotten Viking settlement of Skjoldheim. The village clung desperately to life beside a black, icy fjord, whose waters were said to swallow the living whole. The cliffs rose like jagged teeth, snow draped over them like a shroud, and the wind howled through the rocks, carrying faint echoes of voices long dead that whispered secrets no living soul should ever hear. Each winter, when the auroras tore across the sky with ghostly twisting colors, whispers would slither over the fjord, a sinister choir of voices belonging to the lost, the betrayed, and the eternally damned. Mothers pressed their children to the hearth, fishermen dared not venture out, and even the strongest warriors stayed close to wooden huts. Yet tales persisted. Ghostly warriors, risen from watery graves, would seize anyone who dared cross the fjord after darkness fell, dragging them screaming into endless torment. Some claimed the spirits were not alone, that the fjord itself had a mind hungering for human souls, black, patient, and insatiable, waiting to claim the curious and defiant alike. One storm-laden evening, a young warrior named Eirik, fearless and reckless, returned from a hunting trip. Snow whipped his face, and the wind tore through his furs like knives. At the edge of the fjord, he found the villagers huddled, pale and trembling. "They are calling again," whispered the silver-haired elder. "The fjord has chosen a name tonight." Eirik, driven by defiance and curiosity, stepped toward the water. The whispers rose, twisting into shrieks, moans, and the sound of nails scraping over icy wood. Shapes began to emerge, translucent Viking warriors, faces frozen in eternal agony, eyes hollow, bleeding shadows, mouths agape in silent screams. Their skeletal hands reached for him, moving with unnatural, jerky motions, as if the weight of centuries pressed upon them. Their armor was broken and rusted, yet the clang of phantom swords echoed across the fjord, sending shivers down Eirik's spine. Every whisper carried agony, betrayals under blood moons, kin slaughtered for greed, unholy deeds repeated endlessly. The spirits were trapped in a loop of torment, their despair feeding the fjord, making its waters churn and froth like a living beast. Eirik felt the cold penetrate his bones, icy hands wrapping around his ankles. His breath came in ragged gasps. He struggled, but the water was relentless, tugging, twisting, pulling him downward. He screamed, a sound that was swallowed instantly, leaving only ripples that shimmered like liquid shadow. A cruel gust of wind carried a harsher whisper, the elder's warning repeating in his mind. The fjord remembers. It chooses its own. Panic overtook him. He tried to flee, but the spirits pressed closer, mouths opening wider, screaming in silence. The icy water roared around him, dragging him beneath the surface. For a fleeting moment, he glimpsed his own reflection in the black water, eyes wide in terror, face twisted in disbelief, before the fjord claimed him entirely. The villagers watched, frozen, as the waters calmed, but faint ripples lingered. Some nights, they swore they could hear Eirik's screams mingling with the whispers, calling from the depths. Shadows flickered across the ice, faint hands reaching out to drag the unwary into the fjord's eternal hunger. Skjoldheim lies abandoned now, its wooden huts rotting under snow. The auroras still dance above the cliffs, casting ghostly lights that shimmer like spectral fingers. Yet the whispers return every winter, sharp, cruel, and insistent. The fjord does not forget, does not forgive. And if you wander too close under the aurora's ghostly glow, it may call your name before dragging your soul into its endless, frozen